Alright, back to another album review. And it's been a while since the last time I reviewed anything from Deftones. And I'm going to be reviewing their demo album titled Like Linus. I first mentioned this album when I reviewed Adrenaline. Now, back when I was reviewing the other albums from Deftones, I was talking about the albums that got an official release. Like Linus, on the other hand, was only a demo album that was only self-released. I don't know where or when this album was recorded, but the lineup of the band was the same as that of their debut album, Adrenaline, which I talked about several months ago. Although Adrenaline is considered to be the first Deftones album, it's the first of their albums that got an official release. Now, Like Linus was actually their first album despite not officially being released. Like Linus is also self-produced, meaning there was no outside producer that the band was working with. This album was mainly centered around nu metal, though this was years before nu metal would become mainstream. There were also some elements of hard rock, rock, and alternative metal. The album was released on November 30th, 93 on CD, but not digital or streaming. It's also not on cassette or vinyl to my knowledge. Although bootlegs exist, I don't know how to get a hold of one since I couldn't find any on eBay. However, this album was uploaded to YouTube in its entirety, and that's the only way I was able to experience the album for yourself. And there's going to be a link in the description if you want to check that out for yourself. Anyways, let's talk about the songs. The song starts with Like Linus A. The song essentially gives you a taste of what Deftones sounded like at first before most people even knew who they were. Keep in mind that all the songs on this album are demos, so the quality isn't as good as what would be. So it's not as good as their work that received an official release. And that's to be expected. I really enjoy the song, and it starts the album off very well. Up next is Some People. The song is much heavier than the previous song. You can tell there are elements of nu metal in this song. I was thinking it seemed better than the previous song. Up next, the next song is Answers. This track is more in the realm of alternative rock, even though it doesn't really fit within the style of the style that Deftones are traditionally known for. I do think it starts off alright. It does get heavy around a minute in, and then again it switches between heavy and soft throughout. Personally, I think this song is alright. Up next is Hump. To me, the song is much better than the previous one. It also has a much faster tone in comparison. We follow up with Christmas. This may not sound like your traditional Christmas song, but it's definitely heavy and I recommend it. Next time you and your family are celebrating Christmas, just play this song, and it's going to make things even more awesome. It's followed up by Plastic. The song is shorter but not as heavy as the previous song. Still liking considering the fact it's in the realm of alternative metal. Next up is Venison. This track is more in the nu metal category, and you'll know once you listen to it. The next track is called Gift. It's the longest track on this album at 5 minutes and 55 seconds long. Not only that, but this is the only song on the album that's over 5 minutes long. I do enjoy the song though. After that is Like Linus B. The song is basically a different version of the first track. Although it's not a bad song by any means, I have a personal bias towards the A version. The next song is called Freaks. This one has the distinction of being the shortest song on the album at 2 minutes and 48 seconds long. Like most of the songs on this album, it's in the nu metal category. Followed up with Engine Number 9A. This is the original version of Engine Number 9, which was re-recorded for Adrenaline. Though I think the re-recorded version sounds much more polished compared to this version. Up next is Roots. It's another song that was re-recorded for Adrenaline, where the version that's on Adrenaline is just called Root. Obviously, the re-recorded version sounds much more polished, since the version on Like Linus is only a demo. This means that the demo has a much more raw sound to it. Next track is 7 Words. This is the third and final song on this album that would be re-recorded for Adrenaline. Even though this version is only a demo, I still enjoy it. I prefer the Adrenaline version. After that is engine number 9B. This is a slightly different version of engine number 9A. It also sounds heavier than the A version. Sound ends with Teething. Although this song was also re-recorded, the re-recorded version was never released on any albums from Deftones. Instead, the re-recorded version was on the soundtrack for The Crow, City of Angels. I currently don't own that soundtrack, but I will review it someday once I get a hold of a copy. The song sounds good, and I think the re-recorded version is better. Since this album never had an official release, there is no information available on how it did commercially, especially considering the fact that only bootleg copies exist. I also couldn't find any critic reviews. However, it does have a perfect 5 out of 5 on Discogs, which is where I got most of my information. Granted, there are only 6 people on that site who gave it a rating. As for my opinion on it, I do enjoy this album. Although it has a raw sound compared to what Deftones would make that would get an official release, I still enjoy it for what it is. Since Like Linus is only a demo album, the quality isn't as good as what would come later. Also, the majority of the songs on this album can only be found on this specific album. And I don't know if they'll ever get an official release or get re-recorded. I stated earlier that there's going to be a link in the description if you want to listen to the album for yourself. And I recommend checking it out. Now is the part where I question you. Have you listened to Like Linus? If so, what are your thoughts on it? Think this album should have had an official release? You think Deftones will re-record the rest of the songs that haven't been re-recorded? Let me know in the comments. If you like the video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification bell to be notified of future uploads. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon with another review.